Sir, may I come in?
Come in.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Have your seat, Rahul.
Good morning, sir. Thank you, sir.
Rahul, you have taken your vaccine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you may remove your mask because your chair is also been kept at a safe
thank you.
distance. Remove it altogether. Introduce yourself.
Sir, myself Rahul Devbura. I originally belongs from village Ghirai of district Hisar, Haryana. I have done my education up to class 12th from there only, sir. After that, sir, I did my graduation in mechanical engineering from IIT Delhi. I completed it in 2019. So during my graduation, sir, I got an opportunity to study in France as a part of student exchange program for 1 semester. Also, sir, my hobbies includes yoga and football, sir.
Okay, so you are a mechanical engineer and optionally also mechanical engineering.
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly tell us what are the milestones of mechanical engineering in India? What has been major achievements in the modern times?
Sir, mechanical engineering have contributed in a lot of sectors in India. We can see it in our power generation in terms of thermal power plants that we have constructed. Also, sir, in mobility sector in terms of we are having one of the best automobile industry in the world. Also, sir, right now we are looking for bullet train and Hyperloop project also in Maharashtra. Also, sir, in manufacturing, sir, right now mechanical engineering is going through tremendous change, and India is also doing well in this thing, for example in 3D printing, sir. Also, sir, new domains like autonomous vehicles research are going on, and such are the milestones of mechanical engineering in India.
India is having a huge engineering goods industries also.
Yes, sir.
And India is a major exporter as well.
Yes.
Tell us why India could develop this kind of industry in a short span of time so quickly. That is, what are our strengths? How could we develop our engineering goods industry?
Sir, some of the factors that are responsible for a good engineering industry development in India are, firstly, sir, we have these institutions like IIT, Indian Institute of Technologies, which are producing one of the finest engineers in the world, sir, and they are contributing to its development. Secondly, sir, we have seen that, sir, FDI have flowed in, and government have this Make in India scheme by which, sir, a lot of investment and
FDI has come only in post 91, but our engineering goods industry was thriving and even before that.
Yes, sir.
So what are other factors which have contributed?
Sir, there is individual efforts by many industrialists that have contributed to the development, as well as government support was there for the manufacturing of these industries. And also, sir, a good amount of demographic dividend that we are having. So labor quality good labor was available at an affordable price. That
we are the fourth most developed industrial country in the world, and still it is said that manufacturing industry in India is backward. Why this paradoxical statement?
Yes, sir. Manufacturing industry in India have not developed up to its full potential, sir. Sir, a reason could be that, sir, if we see our economic transition, sir, then that happened, sir, just from agriculture. Most of the industry shifted to the service sector, sir, post the liberalization era. Also, sir, our ease of doing business rankings, which are improving recently, was not good earlier. So that acts as a bottleneck for the industries to produce good in manufacturing sector.
You have lived in France also, studied there. How much French have helped Indian industrialization?
I'm sorry, sir, I do not have any exact concrete data about the contribution of the French.
Okay,
in
now,
India.
thank you.
I will look
Sir.
into it. Thank you.
So, gentlemen, you did what your IIT graduation in mechanical engineering.
Yes, sir.
And second very important thing, same subject you have taken in what UPSC.
Yes, sir.
That is excellent.
Thank you.
My question is what? Your area of engineering is what area of application of various technology,
Yes.
particularly making India as what industrial hub, particular manufacturing hubs.
Yes.
Right. My first question is what we have what Taylor-Stools life equation.
Yes, sir.
Right. On what conventional machines, NC, CNC, machines.
Yes.
How using this particular technology to minimize depreciation in GDP? Look, our GDP and NDP having a big problem. GDP, suppose we have what 100 rupees,
Yes.
net domestic product is what 90 rupees.
Yes.
Look, this is not happening to USA, not happening to even China. The difference is what 1 and 2 rupees.
Okay.
So by using Taylor's tools life equations, right, how you minimize in any manufacturing sector the depreciation,
Yes.
net and gross. Yes, please.
Sir, Taylor two-life equation tells that, sir, there is an optimum performance at which, sir, we can produce our products efficiently, and that to the depreciation at very less amount, sir. So, sir, that optimum conditions have to be identified and standard operating procedures have to be developed, sir. If we see such standard operating procedures developed for different machines and the capital goods that we are using, sir, I feel that, sir, our depreciation that is large.
But any kind of machines, you know,
Yes.
is not going to give you better what actually return if there is not actually proper labor code,
Yes, sir.
right? So what are the new labor code and draft policies which is going to help India's in actually decreasing depreciation? The difference in between net and gross would be minimum.
Yes.
Yes, please. New labor code.
Yes, sir. The labor code that concerns with safety of the workers, that talks about the standard operating procedures have to be maintained.
Yes, good point. Good point.
Yes.
My next question is what? Another aspect of mechanical engineering. Look, that is related to what basic concept of first and second law of thermodynamics.
Yes.
And you are a lover of football, right?
Yes, sir.
Fortunately, I also love football the best, right?
Okay.
My question is what? Where you can use thermodynamic principle in the field of football to understand football and the performance of forward players and what the goalkeepers. And the what particularly when they hit the what ball,
Yes.
taking the corner, right, where it is going to be applied. Yes,
Yes.
please.
So if we see the first law of thermodynamics,
Yes.
that is related to the conservation of energy, sir.
Good.
So, sir, if you see in the football field, sir, players are continuously running, and they have to optimize their performance all over the 90 minutes. Sir. So, if we have a good strategy about players' position, then, sir, they can optimally utilize their energy by not overrunning in
Okay,
the field.
second one. Come to second law. First, yes, I could understand. Yes.
Yes. So, second law is related to entropy, and that is related to the randomness, sir. So if we see that, sir, sometimes in the football areas get crowded, sir, with our team and other team. And in that, sir, instead of playing ball there, sir, if we find a position where there is no one and a strategic pass can be passed, then, sir, we can have a better performance of our team and score goals.
Okay. My next question is what latest technology in what mechanical engineering.
Yes.
And that is for very important for fourth industrial revolution going on in India.
Yes.
We call it what? Industrial Internet of Things.
Yes.
So how industrial Internet of the Things responsible to give a boost to India's fourth industrial revolution of the mechanical engineering? Yes, please.
So some of the ways in which industrial Internet of Things will help in development of the Indian industry, sir, are, so firstly, there will be a lot more precision by the industrial Internet of Things, that we are collecting data, and hence, sir, we are developing products very precisely as per the needs of the customer, and, sir, taking feedback from what we have done and what wrong has been done there, improving upon that, sir.
Yes. Look, very latest one under what industrial revolution we are considering of mechanical engineering. We call it what? Agile manufacturing, AZILE.
Yes.
How this is going to give a boost? Agile manufacturing or agile manufacturing. Yes, please.
Sir, if we see the present industrial domain, sir, then a lot of disruptive technologies are coming in, sir. So, sir, if we are not adopting those things in a fast manner, sir, then our products are bound to be outdated, sir. So, sir, in agile manufacturing, sir, we have to use our machines as well as the labor in such a way
Good
that
point. And last question, that is what related to social justice in the health, universal health service. Mechanical engineering, one of the latest trend is what biomimetics. How biomimetics is going towards social justice to people of India, particularly poor section of Indian society. Have you read biomimetics?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, biomimetics is a field by which, sir, we are developing our products by taking inspiration from nature, sir. So,
Good point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rahul, how are you feeling now?
Sir, I'm feeling positive and energetic, a little bit nervous too, sir.
Okay. You have opted for Haryana as your first preference.
Yes, sir.
You must have seen in the news that Haryana government bans the use of the word Gorak Dhanda.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think India is moving towards a restricted society?
Sir, in my view, no, sir. But considering the case that you have mentioned, that ban of the word Gorak Dhanda, sir, and sir, that are affecting the sentiments of community, the Gorakhnath community that is there, sir. So, sir, there exist more words by which we can refer the things that are considered illegal.
People argue that it is not the freedom of expression, it is the freedom without expression. What is your stand on it? I mean, just for the sake, I mean, for some sentimental people, the very word of Gorak Dhanda can be abolished. Don't you think the government is protecting sentiments of one class of religion?
Sir, our right to freedom of speech and expression is not absolute, sir. And we are a society in which there is a lot of diversity, sir. So, sir, we have to respect the sentiments of the people too, sir. In a way that, sir, there is a balance between the different rights, sir. And in my view, sir, the decision that has been taken this time, sir, is not affecting that balance.
Okay. What was the Khoregaon incident that was in news recently? I mean, people are being made homeless.
Yes.
Don't you think it is coercive environmentalism that is coming into the picture?
Sir, it was things of the past that has been done there, sir, that unwanted development in that area takes place, which was quite ecologically fragile. But I do think that, sir, rather than just making the people homeless by coercive measures, by taking them out of that place, sir, some sort of rehabilitation schemes can be introduced, and government is taking steps on that, sir. For example, Faridabad Municipal Corporation have taken the steps that people who are made out from that place will be given a home there.
But the income, I mean, there has been a ceiling of 3 lakh rupees. Do you agree with that particular stand? Still the people are being made homeless. The income threshold criteria has been made for 3 lakh rupees. Do you think this is the justifiable thing that a government must do?
Sir, yes, I see that, sir, some of the terms and conditions that are attached, they can be little problematic and can be exclusionary too. So, sir, going forward, in my view, sir, a better consultations and better understanding of the ground reality and the people's socio-economic conditions, we can frame a better policy, sir.
Well, last question. Will you call yourself a patriot or a nationalist?
Sir, I would call myself a patriotist.
What is the difference between both?
Sir, as far as I know, the difference between the two words, sir, patriotist is a more inclusive word rather than deriving sentiments of an exclusionary or exclusionary pride in oneself. That is the case with the nationalist. While, sir, in patriotism, we accept the diversity, we accept that we might have some limitations, and we always work on those limitations to make ourselves a better nation.
That's all from my side, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hello Rahul, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
Rahul, since you visited France, so you must observe there the mechanization in agriculture is very high there.
Yes, sir.
But when we see in India, it is very low.
Yes, sir.
Why is it so?
So, if we see some of the reasons that are related to the low mechanization in India, is that, sir, our average farm size is very small, and consequently to that, sir, farmers' income is low as compared to that of France. So, sir, they are not able to get an affordable machinery to work on their farm. That is related to the low mechanization. Also, sir, a lot of machines that are being used there are not available. Because, sir, a lot of times manufacturing happens just for the persons who are already using them. So, sir, going forward, in my view, sir, if we give credit facility to the farmers to buy them, or taking them on lease by custom hiring centers as the government is doing, so that will improve the mechanization and enhance our productivities.
Great. Rahul, what we are seeing in India, now the situation is the joblessness. It is huge. And now we are moving towards Industrial Revolution 4.0 and more automation, more Internet of Things like that. So for a country like India, where the huge joblessness situation is there, will it be good for the country that we should adopt this type of automation that will increase more unemployment?
Sir, there is definitely a risk that, sir, if we allow the automation to go in just the same way, then it might lead to job losses in India. But, sir, if we proactively target our youth and provide skill to them, sir, upskill them, and whatever the persons that are still being them, sir, reskill them, then, sir, in my view, sir, those persons will get better job opportunity.
What do you mean by that reskilling?
So, for example, sir, let's say a person is doing a clerk type job right now, sir.
Yes.
And that job might be get wiped out due to the automation, sir. For example, use of artificial intelligence technology. So, sir, if we can teach that persons to code a little bit or to access data and get information out of it, then, sir, that person has been reskilled to a better paying job, sir.
Who will take this responsibility of reskilling? Either the government or the private sector?
So it has to be done by both, sir. By government also, and that has to be in collaboration with the private sector.
Government is implementing the skill development program since 2015.
Yes.
It's about 6 years.
Yes.
And still, as Niti Aayog report, we have only 4% skill of labor in India.
Yes.
And government is spending a huge over there.
Yes.
That will pressurize our fiscal deficit also.
Yes.
So, what's your call? How the private sector will participate to improve the skilling in India, as well as it will reduce the expenditure of the government also? What's your call?
Sir, skilling in a better and more efficient manner can be undertaken if we promote the culture of internship in the education institutions only. So, sir, from there only, sir, industry will be getting the persons. They will teach them what kind of job environment is there in the industry, so that, sir, when they get back to the
Can you suggest a model that we can adopt to increase the skilling as it is required by the industry? That will be the more demand driven, not the supply driven.
Yes, sir.
Can you suggest a model?
Sir,
I will happy to hear.
Yes, sir. I see this model in France, sir. So, sir,
that's why I'm asking.
Yes, sir. Here in India, sir, right now we are having just one internship at the end of the third years. Whereas in France, sir, they have 3 internships. At the end of first year, it is 1 month and low skill based internship, so that good engineers also appreciate low skill work. For example, a mechanical engineer appreciate what mechanic is doing. At the end of the second year, sir, they have an internship of 3 months. At the end of the third year, sir, they have an internship of 4 months. So by doing all these internships, sir, they are having an exposure to 2-3 companies and a good diversity of the industries that are there, and hence, sir, they automatically become market ready. So that model, in my view, as per the requirements in India, can be a little bit tweaked, so that we also produce engineers which are industry ready.
Great, Rahul. Thank you. Sir, please.
Rahul, may I know your hobby?
Sir, my hobbies are yoga and football.
Okay. Who has written Yoga Sutra?
Sir, it was written by Maharishi Patanjali, sir.
Okay. Are you aware of the term Chittavritti in yoga?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
So, Chittavritti in yoga means, sir, our continuous fluctuations that are going in our mind, the distractions that are there. Whether it leads to our, as said, sir, it might leads to our coloring of our vision, sir. That, sir, we tends to flow between emotions, sir. One time happy, one time sad. We are not able to look at the things in a very clear manner and have prejudices about the things. We are not able to appreciate the reality that is there. So all these things, along with asatya and ahimsa that we do, all these things are chitvrittis.
So are you able to remove all these, bad qualities or bad memories from your mind due to yoga?
So I would say it is a work in progress, sir.
Okay.
And yoga has definitely made a good impact on tackling such things in my body, sir. And I'm still working on it, and I hope that, sir, I will continuously strive for perfections.
But on which philosophy yoga is based?
So yoga itself is a philosophy,
Okay.
one of the philosophy in the Indian Oriental education.
Okay, so yoga is a philosophy or a practice? Or it is based on some other philosophy also? Are you sure?
Sir, as far as I can recall, sir, yoga is a philosophy in itself, and some practices like asana pranayam, it is a very realistic philosophy, sir. A person can practice it himself in a very realistic environment, sir. Apart from that, sir, maybe I'm a little wrong, so I need to recheck it.
Okay. Recently, India is planning to ratify Kigali Agreement
Yes, sir.
to the Montreal Protocol.
Yes.
So, do you know a little about Kigali Agreement?
Yes.
What is it basically?
Sir, in the Montreal Protocol, the chlorofluorocarbons and hydrofluorocarbons were banned. They were ozone depleting potential. But, sir, chemicals like hydrofluorocarbons, although they are not ozone depleting, but they are contributing to the greenhouse gas emissions and global warming. So, sir, Kigali Agreement goes further to the Montreal Protocol by banning the hydrofluorocarbons used in the air conditioning industries.
Okay. Do you know what is judicial activism?
Yes, sir.
Please elaborate.
So, judicial activism means, sir, when judiciary takes a very proactive role, and sometimes in protecting the rights of the persons. And, sir, sometimes it also produces good results, sir, but sometimes it is said that, sir, judiciary is going beyond their constitutional domain and infringing in the domains of legislature and executives.
Okay, and what is judicial overreach?
So judicial overreach particularly mentions that, sir, judiciary is going beyond its constitutional domain.
So, is there any difference between the two, judicial activism and judicial overreach?
So judicial overreach forms one part of the judicial activism. Judicial activism can be good as well as bad, sir, and that bad part is sometimes said to be the judicial overreach.
Overreach. Rahul,
Yes,
have you read today's newspaper?
sir, I have just glanced through the headlines, sir.
Okay, so you could have noticed that American Vice President's trip to Vietnam was delayed due to a possible health condition prevailing in Vietnam, and that is been called as Havana syndrome.
Okay.
Have you come across this news?
Sir, I came across the news of Havana syndrome a month ago, sir.
What is
And,
that?
Sir, Havana syndrome basically refers to that, sir, a lot of diplomats in Havana were facing mental and physical health troubles due to, sir, some sounds that are being produced near to their residential facilities. And it was seen that, sir, maybe intelligence agencies of the other countries are trying it as a weapon to affect the diplomats of the other countries.
A committee of Congress, American Congress, has come to a conclusion that possibly a pulsed radio frequency attack could be reason for Havana syndrome.
Okay.
What do you stand by this pulsed radio frequency?
I'm sorry, sir, I do not know the exact technological background of this technologies.
How can radio frequency be used as a weapon?
Sir, if we see the electromagnetic waves, sir, then, sir, they are attached, they have this energy that is there that sometimes lead to the tissue heating. Also, they interacts with our nervous system, sir. So, sir, if particular frequency and especially, sir, the resonance that can be can be attached with our natural body frequency, sir, then it can impact our health in a tremendous manner. So maybe, sir, radio frequencies forms a part of that, sir, that can impact the health of the persons.
Okay. So do you think in coming days this growing use of radio frequency as weapon worldwide can pose a new kind of threat to humanity?
Yes, sir, it is quite possible, sir, and we have to be proactive in looking at some of the consequences of it.
So do you think that human beings in modern times have engaged in a blind race to develop technology, and in their urge to develop as many technologies, they are inventing technologies of their own mass destruction?
Yes, sir, that is seen in many times, sir, as you have rightly mentioned, sir. That, sir, rather than looking for the international peace, a person's developed technology either for the self-benefit or just for the benefits of one society or a country, and that ultimately leads to a race that other countries also develop the same kind of technology, and that can lead to the human destructions. For example, sir, nuclear technology, missiles that have been developed, that is a point in case.
So are you aware is there any UN convention to restrict this kind of destructive technologies?
Sir, there are different UN conventions for particular technology. For example, conventions for biological weapons is there, for chemical weapons has been there, and going in future, sir, the UN is also going to discuss if the problem get a concrete evidence, for example, for the radio frequency. I feel that the international community will come together to address its concerns.
What is Convention on bio weapons? When it was signed, what are the details? Some provisions?
Sir, I'm not aware about the signing of the convention, but some of the details includes that, sir, that biological resources should be used for the benefit of the human society and should not be used in the warfare or for the destruction purposes of the other countries. So this put a very welfare type of approach for the biological resources used in these conventions.
And do you think this market-driven economy makes the technological breakthroughs more destructive rather than a state-monitored economy?
Sir, I feel that, sir, both can lead to positive as well as negative outcomes. States themselves have used atomic and nuclear weapons which are not market-driven, sir. And also, sir, market sometimes tends to develop tools that, for example, sir, in cyber crimes, we have used this various softwares that can be used for the destructive purposes. And also, sir, both state as well as market are using these technology for the welfare of the society, sir. So both can be there, sir. Intent is what matters.
Okay, nice talking to you, Rahul. Your interview is over. You may go now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
This is the second attempt
Yes, sir.
for you. So in the first attempt, what happened? You
Sir,
did right means or not?
Yes, sir. I reached up to the interview stage. But
Last year also.
yes, sir.
So what was the performance in the interview?
So it was really bad, sir. Just 132 marks.
Why?
Sir, actually, my interview was just on the second day last year, and the result of mains was a little bit delayed. So my preparations were going in haphazard manner, sir. I was not prepared my DEF well, as well as, sir, current affairs at that time were not well structured for me, sir. So that ultimately
So you couldn't answer many of the questions they asked?
So some of the questions I was not able to mention. In some I saw very much overconfidence, so there were some behavioral issues also.
Like?
So for example, they asked me a question that whether do you read books, and rather than giving a simple answer, sir, that no, I do not read books that much, I said that, sir, in a very overconfident manner, sir, that I just passed out in 2019 and there are so much books of UPSC to read that I was not getting time to read some other books. So he just catch me at that point and he said to me, oh, you do not scroll through social media, you do not watch YouTube videos, you do not watch movies, you are having ample amount of time and you are saying that you do not have time to read books. that was issue, and in one or two more questions there was some issues.
Okay. So now you are grounded.
I say that, sir, I'm better prepared as compared to last time.
You are, it appeared in today's performance, we have discovered that you are a very grounded person, original, son of the soil, character is reflected in your whole discussion. And your knowledge is simply excellent. So the parameters which we just, that means your entry is good, your sitting posture is good. You greeted the board members, but just as an advice, just to preempt any mistake, that if there is a lady member sitting, first of all greet her, then the chair, and then the other members.
Okay.
And your dress sense is good, but you may have a second look on the color of socks.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe
Little bit dark.
yeah,
Okay.
darker shade may be helpful. So expressions are fine overall. You are having a tremendous sense of understanding the question, the intent of the question, and you structured your answer in a very balanced manner. Whatever the provocative tone we have used, different members have used provocative questions, but you stuck to your sense of balance of judgment. You looked at both the sides of black and white rather than only looking at black or looking at white only. So that's very smart thinking.
Thank you.
You are mentally alert, your critical power of assimilation is there, and you are aware with the current developments also. We tested with some 3-4 current questions, so you are, it appears that now you have developed the habit of looking at the current informations.
Yes.
And your response time is quick, so that's also good. So overall we are very impressed, and we see you somewhere in the best of the ranks this year, given the score in mains. Of course, nobody knows. How was your score last year in mains?
So it was good as compared to I was 40 marks above the cutoff,
Okay.
and this time I'm expecting better marks as compared
In
to
mechanical engineering?
So mechanical engineering I was 260.
That's good.
So but still, sir, there was gap 20-30 marks can be
Added this year.
Yes.
So you are expecting close to 300,
Yes.
maybe 280 to 300. That's good. So your interview this year is likely to be drastically better than last year.
Thank you, sir.
And only a couple of suggestions from our side.
Yes.
Be a little more cheerful,
Okay.
with some smiles here and there. And as you noted yourself that you are a little bit nervous, there is no need for you to feel nervous. Your DAF preparation is very good, whether it is your hobby or your academic background. The theoretical understanding, the application of that theoretical thing in different context is also very good.
Okay.
So almost everything is good, but be cheerful, be a little more energetic.
Okay.
And because you claim, and your DAF also informs that you have stayed in France,
Yes.
so Indo-French relationship, different dimensions,
Okay.
should be given extra care.
Okay.
So your interview is on 14 September, so you have got time.
Yes.
So read a little bit about Indo-France.
Okay.
And Vivekanand ji was having very favorable opinion about French culture and Indo-French relationships.
Okay.
So if you could bring that perspective also,
Okay.
that will be better.
Okay.
Rest of things are simply wonderful.
Oh,
All the
thank you.
best.
Thank you, sir.
Maintain the same spirit.
Okay, sir.
Okay, don't get overconfidence.
Okay.
This is what we as a together feel. Very good.
Okay.
Very nice. All the best.
And sir, can I
Yeah,
say? Sir, the questions about yoga, whether it is a philosophy, sir, it is a philosophy in itself, right?
See, if you give a, basically yoga is more of practical practice, practical aspects, and somewhere it is also related to the Sankhya. So Ajay, just go a little bit there,
Okay.
Somewhere how it is related to Sankhya as a philosophy. Just
Okay.
that corner you can, prepare. So because actually the board members can actually ask you questions related to a little bit Sankhya. How is it related to Sankhya?
Okay.
Just prepare on that.
Okay.
It will take only 10 to 15 minutes. And
Okay. I will do.
Okay, all the best.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.